So I decided to do this podcast slash YouTube slash whatever you want to call it, or whatever I decided to do with this. Um, my name is Natasha. I'm 25 years old. I struggle with depression, among other things, but depression is my main thing that I'm struggling with right now. Um, it started. Hit me the hardest in 2017. I'll get to that later though. When I was 12 years old is when I'm not going to go into too much detail, but just know I was emotionally abused. Thankfully, I wasn't sexually abused, but I was definitely getting to that point. Thankfully, parents got involved before it became like that, and adults became involved, and so anyway, but when I was 14 years old, the man who had emotionally abused me, um, he started following me around because he hadn't done anything wrong as of yet. It was bad enough that it affected me, but it wasn't bad enough to get the law involved. And to this day, I have no idea if anyone could have done anything, because he hadn't done anything yet. But what hit me the most was when he wouldn't leave me alone. We went to the same church. There was nothing that kept him from going to the same church as I did. And my parents tried to send me to my grandparents' church for a while, but I missed my parents, so I came back. Um, and he was everywhere. He was outside my classroom. He was outside of the main hallway whenever I tried to come out of the main congregational room. Um, he was outside waiting. It was always like he knew where I was going to be, which I guess wasn't that hard because, church building is only so large. But he always wanted to talk with me. He always wanted to explain he just wanted to be a friend. He always explained that he was hurting, that he was suicidal, that I it seemed like I didn't care. Um, so when I was 14 years old, that's when he first told me he was suicidal. And that's when the first time I truly began to understand what suicide was and started to think about it myself and what it meant. Um, it wasn't until I was like 17 years old that I truly began to think more upon it. Um, and when I was uh, 21 years old, I was thinking about actually killing myself, and I got very close to trying to do so, but thankfully I did not. Later on, though, in 2017, is when I did try to commit suicide, and it it was really hard on both me and my mom, who came to visit me at that time, because I was living by myself with roommates, but by myself, going to school. Um, Sorry. So fast forward, 2018, I still had depression, but then my anxiety started to go up. Um, and I didn't like my job, and I didn't like anything, and it was really hard for me. I quit my job. I was living at home with my parents. I decided to start a master's degree, which I still am doing, but I'm struggling, which I'll get back to that hopefully in another episode. Um, but in 2019, in January 20th, I decided that I needed to take drastic action because my suicidal thoughts were increasing again, and I was worried that I would end up in the same exact place I was in 2017. And so I went and I joined a program. Um, the program was the company is called New Roads. It was very new to me. First, I was in residential treatment where they just had me. Basically, it's like a hospital, but like it was more like a therapeutic hospital, but like it was also more like a home, like a old folks home, because I think it used to be an old folks home. Anyway, I'm not sure about that. That was the rumor that went around while I was there. Um, but uh, but we weren't allowed to leave unless we were with one of the staff, or if we were with a family member and it was okayed with our therapist. I was there for a month, and then I went into transitional where they provided housing and money for food and activities for us to do, as well as therapy and lots of classes, lots and lots of time to better ourselves. And then finally, I went on my own and I lived in Utah for a couple months, more than a couple, quite a few actually, like about five. I don't know. It's October, November, December, January, February. Yeah, 5 months. Um, and so I was living on my own. I was still doing therapy so I had once a week I had therapy with New Roads, so that was good. And then my therapist, he talked with me, and I was going to move back to California eventually because I wanted to be with my family again. And he talked about how he was starting his own business. So I thought, why not just move to California now? Because obviously, if he's going to be moving, I don't want to start a new therapist and then have me move. So I decided to just move back to California. So that's where I am now. I'm in California living with my brother. He's been very gracious to have me. Um, my I have a job. It's a part-time job. Um, I am very much still depressed, not as suicidal, barely suicidal if at all. And when I am suicidal, I know how to deal with it. Not that I like enjoy it or anything. I don't. But we can get into that later a little bit more. But yeah, I talked with my therapist about doing this, and she thought it was a great idea, and I agree with her. And um, I'm very grateful for quarantine because it allowed me to do therapy with my therapist in Bakersfield that I had done before I went to Utah. And so now I just get a Zoom with her, and it's an easy transition because I know her, which has been really a big blessing. Um, sorry. I am going to be very emotional in all my videos and or recordings because I'm an emotional person and things hit me a lot, very strongly. Um, right now, I'm trying to do my best to get out of the depression. I changed my medications recently. I started a program called Better Health. I am trying to read my scriptures every day. I am trying to interact with people more, but it's proven to be harder than I thought with the quarantine. So even though the quarantine has been a blessing, it's also been hard because, I'm struggling to have friends. So yeah, so there's that. So that's my mental illness in a nutshell. Um, I um, I I have been so blessed with the family that I have and with the opportunities that I've had, and at the same time, I'm still struggling. And this is my journey um, to recovery. And recovery is less like a destination and it is very much a journey. So instead of a journey to recovery, this is my journey of recovery. Thank you for being with me as I do this.